So mostly it still is pretty manual in scope. The way that Lauren will do when we do our crawls, so we do a lot of our crawls locally. We run Heritrix directly. We will get the work files back. We'll load them into the Wayback Machine. We'll use Firefox in a proxy mode with the Open Wayback, and then we will record using some of the tools in Firefox whenever there are misses into the archive, and then we'll take those files, those URLs, and feed them back in and do kind of a patch crawl. So it's a pretty time-consuming, laborious process. It can take anywhere from an hour for a pretty quick site to many hours for larger scale sites. And it's something that we're really actively interested in automating further. And we've been involved in some of the IIPC initiatives to try to build some automated quality assurance tools and try to make them not only the methodologies, test those out, but then moving those into tools that all of us can start to rely on as part of our workflow.
Well, we have no specific QA process, but we make, let's say, kind of indirect QA. For example, when we have a specific curate operation, it's the opportunity to check if every website is well archived. So we have this kind of documentary operations which allow us to check that we have all what we are supposed to have for a specific website or Twitters on a specific topic, for example.
We do limited QA on both the selective crawling and the domain crawling. The selective crawling is a manual QA step after a crawl happens. A archivist will just look through the site basically and see if everything's okay. If it's something that they've captured many times, it's probably a very limited scan of has it obviously changed in a way that's going to break something. If it's something new, they will do more in-depth, trying to look through the different types of content within the site to see if it works. And then for the domain crawling, it's very much just a sample of a small number of sites within it. Currently not a particularly standardized or well-defined process. It's something we would like to improve on, and in particular, we are very interested in trying to automate or semi-automate QA in order to be more effective and to be able to, now that we've got digital legal deposit legislation and can more easily do broad crawling, it's just impractical for staffing reasons to be able to do effective QA without some sort of automation and tooling.
I couldn't say how much, because anyway, we put everything on consultation for researchers, even if there's no QA. But very minimal part of it has a specific QA. But we are working on it, and I hope we'll have some QA process in a few time.
As new content is acquired, all of the things that we're acquiring locally in the digital library go through that process. And so this is nice because we're not acquiring a huge amount. We're not doing large domain crawls all the time. Our biggest collecting happens every 4 years with our end of term crawling. And even that, there is a goal to try to do at least a high level quality assurance. There are patterns of things that go wrong. And so once you kind of start to see those, you can make sure that you get all the important CSS, getting all the important graphics, getting all of the important things from the websites. There are things that we know break, and so we can make sure we go through and try to identify those. But anytime we get new content in or are doing new crawls directly, we'll do a quality assurance piece before we truly finish up the crawls and then move those into the repository.
We do very little going on at the moment, just because of time issues, because during the time that we do quality assurance, we are not looking at expanding our collections. We are not harvesting, so it's a bit of a question of juggling our resources, and we basically have to be confident enough that the results are mostly okay. So we have to manage expectations in that regard, that we are not able to look into the details.
The two people who are focused on curation, they make it full time. So in their work, indirectly, they have a part of QA, even if it's not code like this. So I would say maybe a third time of these two people is kind of QA.